couldn't remember it very well. It was always clouded and hazy in his psychopathic mind. Thoughts and images tend to swirl around like a storm inside his brain. He'd always been rather heartless, too, which was ironic as he ate kidneys, only the occasional heart. You were the one who looked after your beautiful monster. You, the one weird, strange girl, yet who seemed so normal-looking and plain. You tucked him under your large motherly wing, eventually falling hard and fast for him. And boy, did that fall hurt. He was hard. So very hard to love. He had violent mood swings, and sometimes he just wanted to be alone. However, there were some times when he would practically crawl back to you, like a sad, wounded, injured puppy. You just couldn't resist. Though, out of every tiny, hazy thought, he could remember one quite clearly. A rather dreadful scene one would rather forget. It was the type of scene that made faint-hearted women scream and young children cry. The sight of a body hanging from a flimsy rope attached to a lampshade. It would dangle, and it would sometimes remind one of a punching bag. Although, if you did in fact punch said thing, a lot of weakened bones would crack, and you may accidentally punch a hole clean through it. He found that rather funny and fascinating. Humans were a thing he often worked on for his daily nourishment. He wasn't exactly frightened or scared of something he'd seen so many times. Sometimes he'd cut too close to a blood vessel, and his food would die. He didn't even notice sometimes. He didn't even really care. Humans were mere cattle and chickens to him. Livestock. You were no different. Right? He felt like he shouldn't have felt at least a little bad or sorry, and instead, you only had yourself to blame. You did this action. It was your choice, not his. Suicide was up to the holder. You have the choice to take your own life. However, you just chosen what would commonly be seen as the wrong one. After about the second week of your corpse being there, it did start to smell a tad. He wondered if maybe he should do something about it. Maybe take it to a friend? He hadn't thought of it before. He usually spent most of his time staring at you and thinking about how fascinating the human anatomy was. Eventually, the masked young boy visited the house. He seemed to almost panic at the sight of the body, something he'd never seen him do before. What? What happened to Namine? He cried out in a stutter. He shrugged. She died. The mouse boy turned back to the rotting, foul-smelling corpse. How long has she been there? He shrugged again. I don't know. 1, maybe even 3 weeks. He yawned after that. He was awoken early by those damn bluebirds who sometimes visited the nearby trees, probably eating out of a bird feeder you filled up sometimes. Maybe they were wondering where the food had gone. The masked boy then called in the suited man. Oh, holy Zolgo! He sighed in an annoyed manner. What did you do? He asked, his voice still so firm that it sounded like a statement. Nothing. I mean, I didn't do anything. She did it herself. He merely shrugged again, taking a sip of some tea the masked boy had made. The suited man then took the body someplace while the masked boy stayed with him. They didn't speak. It was too awkward to speak. They just sat in silence. I haven't really found time to harvest my food, with the corpse being here. Yes, it was far too fascinating to leave. The masked boy tapped his fingers on the teacup, making short, high-pitched sounds echo through the room. He replied curtly, taking a sip. Soon after, the suited man held a funeral for you. He went, of course. So did a few other pastas, but it seemed very neutral. Nobody really minded. When he returned back to the now empty house, he groaned. He was quite hungry for a kidney or two. He went into the fridge, but found none. But the most oddest thing was, He could smell a kidney, the beautiful smell of rusty metal blood and rawness somewhere in the house. He was unsure where, but it was there somewhere. He checked all the rooms, the kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathroom, but eventually he was led to the attic. He opened the door, dust flying everywhere, making him cough, his eyes fixed on what appeared to be a plate sitting on one of the boxes. On that plate was a kidney. Underneath that kidney was a note. To my beautiful monster, eyeless Jack, my time here is done. There's nothing left for me on Earth anymore. There's nothing special here. Nothing good ever happens. The only somewhat good thing that happened to me was you. And look at how messed up you are. I digress. You were probably looking for some food, and that's how you found this. I had my kidney removed, see? I called in a few favors before I stained the nose red. Call it my final gift to you, the most beautiful monster ever to have graced me with your love. Bye, Namine. Maybe one day we'll meet again soon, my love. Isla scrunched up the note. He sighed softly, his breath hitching. It was his fault. He could have saved her from the sounds of it, but no. Fate was cruel and unforgiving. He looked up. Say it isn't true. Say this is one of my hallucinations, and that I'll wake up soon. He pleaded. To who? He didn't even know anymore. He didn't know, and he didn't care. He stared at the plate with the kidney on it. It had been evaded in wrapping so that it wouldn't go so fast. Isla slowly pushed the plate away, a scraping noise filling the room. It fell to the floor with a large smash. He had lost his appetite.